I love Journey to One. It's so good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TTV Modcast, episode 21.
Back from hiatus.
Yes, we've been on a hiatus for a few weeks, and now we're back. I'd like to imagine this is like a whole new season of the Modcast that we're doing.
Oh, no, because I'm a fantastic point of something. I watched Aladdin totally. I've seen that movie. I'm not making up the words to the song.
Not at all.
Dear Slime, I have a song that I've actually prepared to sing for this episode. Can I sing it right now?
Sure.
We got trouble, my friends. We got trouble right here in Bionicle G2. That's trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with D, and that stands for dud, and that stands for duty, unity, destiny. All right, I'm done.
Is that a song?
Yes, that's the song. Watch the music, man, you scrubs.
Who are we?
I'm Wudge.
I'm Chronicler.
It's Slime.
I am Dragon Smat.
And here we are.
So Journey to One, am I right?
More like Journey to None.
Yeah, okay, so we planned for this Journey 1 episode for like a while now, and now that Bionicle has ended, it's gonna be essentially just beating a dead horse, because it is dead. A lot of people have given their criticisms of it, but I feel like
They're not harsh enough!
they're not harsh enough, yeah. We are going to nitpick this show part.
It's already dead, so desecrating the corpse isn't going to hurt it.
Just for clarification, we are talking about Journey to One Season 2, which is the latter two episodes of the four. We already kind of talked about the first two in a previous podcast, the number of which I don't immediately remember.
That was episode 3, the one with the terrible audio quality.
Yeah, so we already talked about the first two episodes there, so if you want to hear our thoughts on that, go ahead and check that out.
So I actually thought the animation was pretty good this time around. I feel like the Toa's interaction was a lot better this time. There's not really much exposition as there was last time, and it just didn't feel as boring this time around, I'd say.
So you say overall you like the animation?
Yes.
Now, see, I don't know if I'd fully agree with that. There was some stuff that maybe it was just in conjunction with the line delivery, but overall it seemed like things were a little awkward.
It was awkward last time too, so I'll give you that.
Just the way that the Toa stand, it's just kind of jerky and odd and kind of video gamey, which works great for video games, but not great for animated TV shows. And it's not like this is a normal thing for TV shows. I mean, I watch animated shows all the time, and that's not really normal.
The animation is unlike any animation that I've seen for other kids shows, but maybe it's just a style that is of some shows that I just don't watch.
I think they were trying to make it look distinctive. I'm not sure if it quite works, though.
Yeah, it does seem quite unique.
I like the idea of cel-shaded character and then a 2D effect for elements. That, I think, is a pretty interesting concept. It's just I feel the execution wasn't great.
It ends up looking like it doesn't know if it's supposed to be 2D or 3D. And it's
Right.
kind of a bizarre Frankenstein amalgamation of both.
To be honest, I would have probably preferred just like a full-length series done in the style of the 2015 animations.
That would have been cool.
As far as plot goes, they find out that Umrak summoned the Shadow Horde, because, you know, that's been explained totally what that is, right?
It's the Horde of Shadow.
Okay, here's the thing about the Shadow Horde. I think it was not that bad. It reminded me of the Rockshi in 2003. I think it was nice how they figured out you had to defeat them by destroying their masks. That was really nice.
No, Kronk, you don't realize. Oh, Noah is one smashes like the first, and then just randomly decides to smash the mask. He immediately that says, destroying the mask is the key, or whatever. How did he know that? Where does that analysis come from?
I don't know. It just seemed like to me he discovered it.
I don't know.
I don't know. This thing is a mess, okay? It's a mess.
Furthermore, I'd like to know the way that Onua says that line. We must destroy the mask. That is the key. Says it like he's so out of breath. It's amazing. All he did was swing his hammer.
Well, that's what we get when you're sleeping all the time.
And you skip leg day.
I'd like to point something out. So when the Toa are fighting the beasts in the Mask Maker City, there's this one part where Onua goes off on his own and then like just sort of flies away with his mega jump into the fray. The other Toa then stand around for the next minute while they just wait, and then they're like, oh, now we should go and fight. And that's weird. Going beyond that, Onua hits one of the Quake beasts and it breaks and then reforms around, right? So they know by that point that beasts reform. When Gali is fighting them, she slashes them with her spear. She then stands there as this beast reform directly in front of her, taking like a solid 5 seconds, and she doesn't even react. They then blast her with lightning, and then she's like, I didn't know that was coming. And it's like, how did you not know that was coming? You just saw the beast. And so then, fine, whatever. So then Pohatu says, I'll save you, Gali. He runs forward, slashes his flail through the beast, and it doesn't hit them. Why? It's not explained. Like, it phases through him. And then you can't even say, oh, well, his flail, it wasn't effective, or you have to use elemental blades or whatever. No, because he uses the exact same flail later on in the episode to smash beasts. What is this series?
The only reason I hate this series is because it ended Bionicle Gen 2 and it ended on such a terrible note, and it felt rushed, and oh my gosh, just stop. And it had potential to be good.
It had about the same amount of potential as Hero Factory. I'll give it that. How about that part in the battle where Onua suddenly decides he needs to go see Ekimu? I must go! My planet needs me!
It's like, hey guys, I gotta leave the battle just because I gotta get some exposition.
He says like, oh, I have to go. And then Pohatu's like, where are you going? And then everyone in the audience is like, yeah, Onua, where are you going? We honestly don't know.
Yeah, like, a lot of things are not explained. The Toa know things. They know what to do because...
Stuff happens because the plot needs it to.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Toa act like they're the most brilliant people of all time. And other times they just act like complete idiots. And that's just lazy writing. Or not even just lazy writing, it's just bad writing.
Do we want to talk about Ikimu's sudden transformation into a Toa?
Now see, by that point, I had already been dumbstruck by how awful the rest of everything else is that it just fit right in. So like, I was just like, oh, not really explained? Okay, sure.
I wonder, actually, like, about this light door that he just goes into and transforms. Like, in I think it was the first episode of Journey 1, when he's telling the Toa to go and find the creatures, he's like, okay, you gotta go. I have masks to make. And we never really see any of that. I'm just trying to fill in gaps because the show doesn't do it. I guess he was storing up light energy somehow and putting it into that door or something. I don't know. At least that would be like an explanation. But no, we don't know why Ekimu just transforms and summons this light bird.
Speaking of the creature of light, Agil, there's the one part where, like, he shows how he saw Umrak. Think that it would be from, like, a bird's eye perspective. But Agil manages to get multiple angles of Umrak, including angles of himself, which I must admit, that's pretty good cinematography. You're managing to capture your own self through your own eyes. Going backwards in the episode, again, during the fight, Tahu and Kopaka team up to fight the lava beasts. So Kopaka freezes their feet, to hold them in place. Tahu destroys them with lava. Destroys the lava with lava.
I don't know. I feel like that could kind of make sense. I mean,
but no, you don't realize. They don't realize. They rise literally out of lava.
Maybe the forces.
They rise out of lava. All they would have to do is have Tahu slash them with his swords. No, they have to have him use his magical lava powers to destroy the lava beasts. And it's just like...
The fight scenes were pretty slow a lot of the times.
Lots of pauses.
Things are happening, but it's not a way that you should shoot an action scene. It should be fast-paced, get right to the action, but there's such a huge build-up. I'm not really sure why that is the case.
I kind of like the idea of them having to fight forever without their weapons, but it just wasn't executed very well. Overall, none of it was executed well.
Yeah, and then, like, once they abandon their creatures at the wall, even though it seems like the villagers could have probably taken the beasts. They seem fairly well up to that task. But yeah, just the creatures. What was the point of them? Exactly. Just to, like, open that one shrine, I guess. And that was it. That's like the final battle. They're just unite or forms. Without anything to unite with. I just love how episode 2 starts. They're slowly walking, like at a snail's pace, even though they know that Umrak is collecting the Mask of Ultimate Power.
The last episode ends with them seeing like Umarak summoning the Dark Cloud or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was like ends on a cliffhanger. Kima's like, "We're already too late," or whatever. That's when it starts off with the slow walking.
Yeah, they're slowly walking, and then at a point, Tahu just tells them to pick up the pace. And then, just, like, right after he says that, they start running, and then, like, there's a wipe. The transitions in Journey to One are great. They're just the default wipe that you would have in Windows Movie Maker. Like, that is the transition. And it just cuts right back to them going on a leisurely stroll. And it's like, okay, what happened to the running? I thought this was important or something. But no, they get to the foot of this volcano, or mountain, or whatever, and then just Ekimu takes his time to explain Makuta's backstory. I'm just like, what happened to the getting to Umarak and stopping him from summoning Makuta?
But Wad, we need to have exposition. There's no reason to have urgency in your story, or like dramatic tension, or any fancy crap like that.
I just love that as the opening. It's just so slow. And this is like the last episode.
Not only just the last episode, the end of G2.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it seems really bizarre that this exposition scene is happening right at the start of this. Like, it feels like something that should have been at the start of the third.
To my knowledge, I haven't read the second graphic novel or the second or third books. But from what I know, those books do go into the backstory of Makuta and how, you know, like, he, like, created the mask or whatever, wanted to be better than his brother, so he made the ultimate mask, and then he put it on and, like, destroyed stuff, and then Ekimu knocks it off. This isn't something new that's being explained here, but if you've only watched Journey to One, which, if you have, I feel genuinely sorry for you. It's just reiterating the same story that, for the most of us, most have already heard.
I haven't read the graphic novels or books either, but I don't know, was the Shadow Realm thing, was that a Journey to One thing, or was that in the graphic novels and books?
I honestly don't know. The books and graphic novels that I read didn't have anything in it. I didn't read most of them, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, just the mention of, oh yeah, Makuta's trying to escape from the Shadow Realm. No explanation given what the Shadow Realm is, how he got to the Shadow Realm, until later. And then it's just sort of like, oh yeah, the Shadow Realm. Everyone knows about the Shadow Realm, right? Like, everyone has their own Shadow Realm. It's like, everyone knows what that is. No! Is it another dimension? Is it a parallel universe?
The long list of things that aren't explained, the Shadow Realm being one of them.
The Shadow Realm is where the Zyvon lives. We all know that. Come on.
Nobody gets your reference! Make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference instead!
When the Toa do eventually, after their long stroll to Umarak, once they actually get to him, I just love how clunky some of the dialogue is. Especially, like, Onua's delivery of this one line when they are seeing Umarak, the Destroyer, for the first time. And he's just like, I think that is Umarak. It's like, astute observation, Onua. You know, it's like, who else have we seen? Would they mistake Umarak for Makuta? Even though, like, they saw him take the Mask of Control. Like, they see that, right? It's like, okay, yeah, it's Umarak. Like, who else would it be? Like, there's nobody else that it could possibly be. Thank you, dialogue. You have pointed out the blatantly obvious.
The part where Tahu's like, we have the element of surprise, and then Umarak's like, surprise! I would have loved it. But Tahu's reaction to it is what kills it. He just sort of looks up and he's like, oh.
Like, that was almost funny. But that was, like, so close. But yeah, Tahu's reaction to that just, like,
kills it.
I do like that. It's like, oh, we have the element of surprise. And it's like, Toa! Umarak the Destroyer just pops up into frame. Beautiful work of timing right there.
When they're fighting Umarak, the part where Pohatu Ex Machina,
Pohatu's like, yeah, this is my house, because they're in the region of stone.
It would have been so easy for him to be like, when Tahu's like, well, why didn't you do that earlier? For him to be like, oh, well, because it uses up all my energy, and now I can't do anything else, or whatever. And then it's like, okay, that's explained, that's cool. But no, he's like, yeah, I could have done that the whole time. I wasn't angry enough.
There was one point where it seemed like, especially with the poster that we had for Journey to 1 Season 2, with Pohatu taking the center stage, it seemed like there was a moment where Umarak is like, oh, you are really strong, Toa of Stone. And just, it seemed like there was some kind of arc that was trying to be formed, but just collapsed because they were trying to wrap up the story.
So someone defeats Umarak or whatever, and then he leaps away. And the Toa run up and they're like, where is he? They were like 20 feet away. Do you have eyes? I don't think you do. And then the next shot is like saying, oh yeah, he's right there. And he's landing on the mountain or whatever. It's, how did you not notice the giant hulking beast flying through the air?
I don't know how the Toa can be just so dumb. It's kind of ridiculous. Even kids aren't that dumb. They can see that through the animation. It's like, we don't need dialogue to reiterate things, or even just like that weird gap.
Do you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of like little kid shows like Blue's Clues or like Dora the Explorer, where intentionally stupid in order for kids to understand, but that's not really even the case. So I remember whatever it was way back when, that leaked document where like they said the average median age of what they were trying to aim for. I almost wonder if that's one of the reasons behind this atrocious writing.
Now that you say that, especially with the Dora the Explorer analogy, it just seems like the slowness, the pace of that show. I wonder if they left so many pauses, because it's like a Dora the Explorer pause. It's like, now we will tell you very slowly what everything is, because you're dumb. We don't need the redundant dialogue, which is a thing in just many kids' shows.
So what you're saying is we don't need redundant dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to be clear, we don't need redundant dialogue.
Yes, we don't need redundant dialogue.
That's right. We don't need redundant dialogue.
But the real question, do we need redundant dialogue?
Well, there you go.
I think we need some redundant dialogue. Truly.
You could have had silence there and it would have been better.
Yeah, like, I wonder how many parts of the show could be fixed with just silence at some of those parts. I'm legitimately now just thinking of maybe going back and watching it and putting myself through that torture just watching it. And just going through and trying to fix it. And, like, make it better edited. It's like, okay, this punch should last for this long. It shouldn't last for, like, an eternity. I wonder if somebody does actually try to do that. Or even just, like, tries to redub it. There's a lot of things that a person could do, probably, since they don't talk with mouths. They talk with lighting effects. So it'd be interesting, actually, if somebody tried to fix the dialogue. This is a fan project. I'm handing it to you, Internet. I'm just gonna get into Ekimu now. When he is fighting Umarak, or does he even fight? He just, like, he combines with Egil, or, like, Egil becomes part of him. It's really unclear, as we have already discussed. And he releases, like, this burst of light energy, I guess. And it knocks Umarak the Destroyer unconscious, it seems, for a few seconds.
But it does nothing.
Yeah, and does nothing. And then Ekimu reverts back to his original form. And Umarak just, he gets up in a few seconds. He's trying to summon Makuta and he needs all the mask pieces. But apparently that isn't actually the case. Because I think one of them pulls the piece away and he still, and I love this because it's like, he says that the light energy that he released, Ekimu, had given me the power to summon Makuta. And I'm just like, what was the point of any of that? Like, Toa Ekimu is useless. To add insult to injury, maybe, it's like he knows his power is in vain and will actually benefit the enemy. So why does he do it? Ekimu, convert evil. It's like, I would have accepted that as a point because it might have made the show more interesting. We'll get into the Shadow Realm stuff, I guess. Scully is pulled into the Shadow Realm.
Scully gets pulled into the Shadow Realm. By who? The Shadow Hand grabs her soul, pulls her. It's apparently not Makuta, or else Makuta doesn't care because he doesn't do anything about her when she pops into the Shadow Realm. It could be Umarak. I don't know.
It was the Destiny Hand, obviously. The prophecy foretold the Hand of Darkness. That's what it was like.
It was Horde Ex Machina.
Makuda's like giving his whole evil speech, and there's one point where I was like, is Ikimu evil? Because he was just like, oh, and my brother knows how this is all going to end up, or there's like this sacred prophecy, but he has vowed not to tell anyone, or he's promised not to tell anyone. And Ikimu just keeps that. He never gives away what it is. But then Gully's like, oh, there's like a prophecy and it's written on a wall somewhere. I forget if Makuta even specifies where it is.
He doesn't.
Yeah, so Gully just finds it and is like, oh, these hieroglyphics, that's the prophecy. Oh, okay. Just trying to understand this show is so hard. Trying to rationalize any of the actions taken, because it just seems like they happen at random.
Okay, I just remembered. So, previously in the episode, Kimu had told the Toa about the prophecy and how there was a prophecy and how things were supposed to happen, but it doesn't actually say what's supposed to happen. They're like, so you know everything that's going to happen? And he's like, whether or not it'll come to pass, that depends on you. Something about that line that I liked, but it's totally irrelevant because the Toa just fulfilled the prophecy. They do know, I think, about the prophecy. Whether or not they know where it is, I can't remember. But the Toa who are in the Shadow Realm, a.k.a. everyone but Gali, their elemental powers don't work for some really unexplained reason. Well, fine, whatever. They lose their weapons. They continue to fight. In that fight, they utter my favorite line. Hey, Umarak! What? Here we come! This is the last fight of the whole series.
Best one-liner ever.
I mean, it didn't have to be the last fight in the series. They didn't cancel it.
I'm sure they had stuff planned, and this was never meant to be the final fight, but they had to do it because Bonkles is dead.
There's a certain point where you can draw the line and say, okay, this would have happened regardless of Bionicle's ending. And it's just like, it's bad. That line, it is the bane of my existence. Who looked at this and said, yeah, I think that's it's going to be great. All the kids will love it. You know, all the older fans, you know, we'll throw in, what's that one phrase that I like? Duty, unity, destiny. Yeah, that one. We'll throw that one in there. Oh, and, well, yeah, that's like a toe of light or something. Yeah, put something in like that too. You know,
by the way, what
people love it. All the original fans will love it. Everyone will love it. It's exactly how LEGO corporate employees sound.
So the last thing that happens is that Gully comes out of the Shadow Realm and then just knows from the hieroglyphics that somehow we are the elements, like the Toa are the embodiment of their respective elements.
Which is a really cool idea. But is it executed right? Not even close.
Essentially what happens is that they activate their elemental abilities.
Yes, lasers.
Yeah, in laser form. They focus them in laser form, which is not cliche at all in a cartoon where there's like a laser battle. Never seen this before in any climax of an animated series.
I'm a fire in my laser.
Where like they're shooting a laser and Makuta is poking his head out of the portal, grunting. He doesn't speak a word. And he's shooting his own laser. And, you know, it goes back and forth until eventually they overpower him because, of course, they do.
They send him back to the Shadow Realm, back to where he was for 90% of the whole season.
Long didn't read version. It was all a waste of time.
No, see.
Yes, it was a waste of time.
I watched TTV's episode on it, and, you know, they say, like, oh, well, you know, Makuta's just back where he started, so nothing was...
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Because you look at the entirety of G2, who are the main villains of the series? So far we have Lord of Skull Spiders, defeated, Kulta, defeated, and Umarak, defeated, and Makuta. But he doesn't count because he was only there for 2 seconds. So, while in theory, yes, Makuta could, you know, summon up some new villains or whatever.
Makuta's influence is still there.
Makuta's influence is still there, but presumably all the villains that we know of on the island are gone.
But that doesn't mean Makuta could always, like, revive them or bring them back.
So after the laser battle, they shoot back up into the stars.
In laser form, of course.
In laser form. And then Isotor, I guess, gives the closing remarks on the Toa and how if Hakoto needs them again, they'll come back. And that is the legend of the Bionicle. That was it. That marked the end of Bionicle G2. Anticlimactic is the best way I can describe Journey to One.
Journey to None.
Don't you mean Journey to Fun?
No.
In all honesty, I find it was a cool thing to actually have a Bionicle web show, because we never got that sort of thing with the original Bionicle. So many things could have been fixed, and I implore anyone out there to do so, and if you do, send us a message.
Well, we'll have you as a guest on the podcast.
That was our long rant and just general discussion on Journey to One. Sorry, I guess, if you liked Journey to One.
Sorry if, we bashed on it a little too much.
No,
We
that's just the Canadian and Wedge talking. We're not actually sorry.
We're not really that sorry. I mean, these are just our opinions.
We understand that you have opinions. If you really do enjoy the series, great for you. You're absolutely incorrect. I'm sorry. I'm ashamed that this is on Netflix. If I could, I would take it down. I don't want the rest of the world to even know that this exists. That's how I feel about this. It was that bad.
Okay, even though I have so many problems with it, I can't help but still like it. I'm sorry.
How?
There's just something about it. I like it. I'm sorry. The only thing I hate it for is for ending Bionicle and just doing it so lazily. But other than that, I enjoyed it. It had so much potential and it ruined it.
I think I've mentioned this before, but the first time I watched the episodes, which is the day they came out, the day that the series was announced to be canceled, I watched that ending and I literally was screaming like, yes! 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 It's ending! It's ending! I was so ecstatic for the end of Bionicle. I just wanted to see it die. Because if this is what we get with Bionicle, I don't want it to be around. I'm sorry.
Screw that. That's for good. If only the media was better.
I guess we could maybe get back and perhaps talk about the other aspects of G2, or maybe it's just done. It's just done and we can leave it alone.
We're done. Please, we're done.
We're done.
Yeah, it would just be overkill to talk about G2 again.
It might be worth maybe at the end of our quintilogy, we can throw in an extra.
I guess we could maybe do a overall something or other.
We'll figure that out.
So we're gonna give our outro now?
Well, that was the Modcast, everyone. So,
Bye,
hope you enjoyed.
I've been Slime.
You have been Slime.
I've
That
been
is true.
slimed.
And we'll see y'all next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Scrubs.
That maybe next episode will be better.
Yeah.